What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. I'm gonna do a post-fight for two fights that took place last night on the Terrence Crawford Amir Khan undercard. That is the Teofimo Lopez fight and the Shakur Stevenson fight. As you know, both of these, I'm a big fan of Teofimo Lopez. And up until now, I was real lukewarm on Shakur Stevenson. I wish him the best. I want him to win and have a good career. But honestly, man, I just wasn't very convinced by what I'd seen in all of the fights before the one that happened before last night. So the last two fights have begun to change my mind. The fight before this one started it, and this second one, man, all I can say is, wow, he looked great, man. He looked great, man. He's looking better and better. So I want to talk about those two things. I also want to talk about, obviously, Teofimo Lopez again. And I think right about now, Shakur Stevenson had a point, man. I think that he might be, there's a good chance he might be wind up being the better of those two fighters. Now, before I do that, though, I want to welcome you back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, hit the subscription button and hit the bell icon, select all notifications so that you can be notified of when we release more videos and when we do our live streams. Definitely check out the live streams. They're a lot of fun, Monday through Friday in the mornings, and a special show we do every Sunday, OG Boxing Talk at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with Blood Boxing and KQKC as members of the panel. Now, and also check out, I got a prize for the Patreon we're going to be giving out, man. And I'm going to be letting people know through the community page who that is and what that is. For the Patreons, thank you guys so much for supporting. We're going to be giving out monthly gifts to Patreons. So I'm going to let you know who the first one to get that is. And so keep on the lookout for that. All right, Teofimo Lopez fought a guy from Sweden. Tatsli, I do believe his name was. And he looked, man, he didn't really look that good, man. Just to be straight with you. He looked very, very devastating in all of his other fights. He winds up getting a stoppage with a body shot in that fight. But he just looked as if he was really trying too hard for the knockout. And that particular fighter he wasn't engaging with him. So he pretty much made Teofimo Lopez be the one to start off every time a fight broke out. It was Teofimo Lopez who was starting it, and it was kind of slow going for him. It made me think of the fight. It reminds me in a little way of the fight that Gervonta Davis had on the undercard of the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Conor McGregor card against Francisco Fonseca. That was the fight where Tank Davis had lost his belt on the scale the day before the fight, but Francisco Fonseca just never initiated anything, and it took a while for Gervonta Davis to figure him out, and eventually winds up landing a shot on the overmatched guy, and he winds up getting the knockout. But in doing so, he lost a little bit of steam in that fight as far as his reputation went, in large part because he missed weight, but also because of the difficulty that he seemed to face in the beginning of a fight with a guy that most people expected him to really walk through. Similarly, that was the case for Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez had set the expectation that he was going to get a devastating knockout, that it was going to be a spectacular show, and it just didn't happen. And at the beginning, but once Teofimo Lopez found him with that, I think it was a left hook. I'm pretty sure that was a left hook to the body, or a straight right to the body. He winds up stopping him in a flash knockout because the guy couldn't take it to the body. And Teofimo Lopez before that looked a little frustrated. There's a little gamesmanship going on. So all in all, it was obviously a road bump, but Teofimo Lopez, I think if Teofimo Lopez could have got in the guy's chest and really started attacking him from, with an accumulation of punches on the inside. I think if he added to that game, it would have been easier for him to get rid of the guy, because once he did got a little closer to him and hit him with a body shot, he did stop him. But I think it probably would have happened a little bit earlier, if he was inclined to do that a little bit earlier in the fight. However, he definitely won the fight. I would pump the brakes on a Lomachenko fight right now. I would give Teofimo, and even the title shot. I know Teofimo Lopez said he's ready for the title fight next, but I think probably he should slow his roll a little bit more, get in there with a couple more guys, have a really good training camp. He just looked a little bit flat to me in that fight, Teofimo Lopez. But at the end of the day, man, it's one of his, what has he got, 12 fight? That's his 13th fight. So, you're going to have ups and downs. I'm not writing the young man off by any means. I just say, let him get a little bit more seasoning, just like, the conversation that took place between Max Kellerman and Andre Ward about, what was going to happen with Teofimo Lopez. Now, with what was going to happen with Shakur Stevenson. Now, Shakur Stevenson, on the other hand, man, he showed me a lot. He showed me he was very, very disciplined. He's a very smart fighter. He looked very, very strong. I mean, it's like he really looks much, much stronger than he did, just 3 fights ago. It's like his body's going through a big transformation, with the amount of work he's putting in. Now, if he was a 24, 25, 26-year-old fighter with that type of body transformation, I might say, that could be suspect, but not at when you're 19, 20 years old and, you're putting in the work, putting in the type of work that a guy like Andre Ward will require of him. And that's where I could really see, man. I could see the influence of Andre Ward's fighting style on Shakur Stevenson. And I really believe that, man, these guys that, kind of like Errol Spence and the body work that Errol Spence Jr. puts in, and Amir Khan, and Terrence Crawford in that fight with Amir Khan was putting in really good body work from the start. That's what I saw in Shakur Stevenson, man. I loved how, he's looking for spots to the head, but he gets that guy's head. He ended combination after combination after combination with shots to the body. Man, I really like that, man. And also he showed that he's got a good head on his shoulders. The guy that he was fighting was an experienced, I think it was Diaz was the guy he was fighting, Christopher Diaz. Christopher Diaz, man, there was this period of time, man, for a couple rounds, it really just looked like they were playing footsie, man. Christopher Diaz kept trying to step on Shakur Stevenson's foot, on his lead foot, to keep him there so that he could hit him with a straight right hand. But, the southpaw is pretty much what they call the southpaw's kryptonite, right? So he really tried. It seemed to me like he was trying to do that for a good amount of time. However, Shakur wasn't having any of it. He would move his foot to the outside. He would then lift his foot up all the way up off the ground, just until Diaz set his foot down, at which point in time, Shakur Stevenson would then put his foot on top of Diaz's foot. Just really interesting work, man. So that was very, very entertaining. And I think of all the fights that took place last night, the 2 guys that impressed me the most were Shakur Stevenson and Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia, if people think that I'm going to do a separate video on this, but I'm going to touch on it towards the end of this video. If people think Danny Garcia is through as a top level fighter, man, I think you're wrong. I really do. Adrian Granados was supposed to be was a good match, and he beat Adrian Granados much easier than Sean Porter did, just by being such, man, he has very, very good timing. He places his punches very well. Man, Danny Garcia looked very strong with a very big right hand, the big left hook we all know he has. The only, kind of weakness that I see from Danny Garcia is his speed of foot and his speed of hand. Actually, his hand speed is pretty decent, but it's not outstanding, but it's decent. It's just his foot. It's just how kind of, he just doesn't have fast feet. Kind of like Canelo doesn't have fast feet, but Canelo makes up with it with extremely, good upper body movement. I think Danny Garcia makes it up with it with just a very good punch selection. And he's got good head movement as well, in response to punches coming through. So, but anyway, that's not the point of this video. This video is about Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Hey, I look forward to seeing what's coming next out of these young men. And with that, I'm out. Peace.